what the first lick that you learned on a Fender guitar?
Oh,
not specifically Fender. Any lick. What was the first lick?
It wasn't a Fender. It was an Orion bass.
Yeah, that's good.
And Warhead by UK Subs.
Okay.
So it's a bass line. It goes like do 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 do.
Yeah. 101 part-time jobs. I mean, you do so much. You're always off your feet.
Okay, yeah, I do.
You've written books.
Yeah.
You've DJ'd a lot.
Yeah.
Tim's Twitter listening parties.
That was a lot. That was a lot. 1,300.
1,300 is... Yeah. And now you've kind of got the residual effect of it being an idea that you're on the radio for, or a podcast.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
And so that's an idea that will never die, which is nice.
That's nice, yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean... The listening parties, I think, will go down in history. Yeah. They were a great way of not talking to myself, talking to plenty of other people. Yeah. And everyone wanted to get involved and wanted to do a good job,
I think if you can turn something that, can be so bad, social media, into something that is good for what it's meant to, like staying in contact with people. Yeah. Pretty easy to feel alone today. Yes. If you can
really is, yeah, really
have a shared experience, I can say, save people. I don't think that's an over exaggeration.
Well, certainly had that said to me about, more than once about the listening party, which is like a huge, a huge thing.
Big time. A head full of ideas, right? Is that who you are? Does that say more about you than just in a name?
Well, I don't know where I got that line from, but it resonated, and it seems to have come true. But thanks for noticing, because I that's the first time I've heard it. Heard that said, So.
But it's true. And I wonder if I read this quote from Roald Dahl the other day, and it's a bit cheesy, but it got sent around my family WhatsApp, and everyone was a bit like, no matter what you do, fucking be enthusiastic about it. He didn't put the fucking bit in, that's me. But, do something and do it enthusiastically. Yeah. And I think, when I was speaking to you coming here today, I was like, I feel like you're someone who goes at most things. I don't, from what I know of you, from what you put out there, it's all pretty enthusiastic in the sense that you do it, you do it in the first place.
I've always been enthusiastic at listening to, collecting, and talking about music. I think anything that kind of has music slightly involved, then I can get into that really.
That's how it kind of started for you, right? Didn't you walk into a record shop?
Yeah, I walked into a record shop and I didn't really leave. I just kind of like would prop the bar up, because all the people that I wanted to meet. I grew up in a small town called Northwich, and there was a record shop, and the people who worked behind the shop were the people that I wanted to talk to the most, really, in that town. Yeah. Just because I wanted to find out, more about the Chocolate Watch Band or 13th Floor Elevators, or up and coming bands from Medway, and I wasn't really interested at school about anything that was kind of like considered beneficial, but I was like I wanted to know everything about music.
There's something in that, how you can do that as a teenager, but at some point it kind of gets kicked out of you, whether it's
that's true
family or like regular society, don't do that, that's too much of a risk, do that and get a mortgage or get a house or whatever it is.
Yeah, the sort of seriousness of life kind of takes over. Yeah.
Were you ever at risk of being convinced to go in that direction, at risk of kind of losing that sense of music self?
Well, I know I just said that I stayed in the record shop, but I actually had a full-time job, so it kind of did take over. But I managed to do things like deliver mail on a push bike around a chemical factory in Northwich. And
sounds dangerous.
Dangerous for someone, yeah. I was pretty happy that I just had, a Walkman and would just listen to music that I'd made through my trips to the record shop and putting on a tape, and that was my first job. I got moved into the office after that.
So you were good enough to be moved into the office? Someone you had potential.
I did, yeah. Basically what it was is I was, so I left school at 16, I got a job at ICI. I think it's called Imperial Chemical Industry or something like that. But I mean, it's like a chemical factory.
There's something about a chemical factory. I mean, obviously they're everywhere.
I know.
But the idea, it's obviously like Simpsons.
Yeah.
And just the imagery there. It's cartoonish.
I mean, it's kind of dangerous, yeah. It was very dangerous. And people obviously the casualties.
A life for music, things change so much over just a few years. But what's the difference between putting out a record now and putting out a record back then?
I mean, I suppose like when first put a record out I was like 22 years old. And
you've changed so much, right?
I've changed loads, I mean, my hair was different every week back then. It's like, it's different every week, every day now.
What's been your favourite hair, actually, just on that point?
My favourite hair, the first hair.
It's never like the first time.
The first hair and the new hair.
The best.
I'm quite into it now. It's kind of like back to its normal, sort of like, not normal. It's back to normal. after a 10-year sort of like blonde phase, but I've liked all of them. It just spent a lot of money on having a cut and then just never looked at it. So I never kept myself tidy or just a mess.
I mean, I'm glazing you here. I'm paying you lots of compliments, but it's true. Like you kind of. Whatever haircut you've had, it suits you.
It has looked pretty good, but then I just don't do anything with it. So I can look terrible with an expensive haircut. I know I can look great with an expensive haircut too. But I mean, it was the most exciting thing in the world the first time, and it was generally very exciting. And that's why we put out so many records, because we were just sort of addicted to it.
We Are Love is.
14th. Yeah, it's mad.
That's brilliant.
And now it's kind of like it feels like a lot more controlled in a way, to kind of like scheduling of stuff, and maybe that's because we're more professional. Yeah.
I suppose when you are more professional, you kind of know what's going to happen. I think that especially in like rock bands, like the naivety is a big part of it.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Do you try and do things now that keep you in maybe a bit of that, like just that moment of you're just excited about it, and you don't know how everything's. If you knew how it was going to go down, maybe you're taking away a bit of magic away from it.
Yeah, you have to go rogue on the internet and stuff like that, and start doing your own stuff.
Stephen Street produced this record.
Stephen Street did some tracks on it,
which is very cool to read.
So many people involved in this record. It was pretty,
Dev Hynes,
Blood
Stephen Orange, Street, incredible.
Yeah. Fred McPherson. So him and Dev came together in lots of ways. Dev would control the board, and Fred would control the room.
Is it still like a matter of not coercing, but just getting everyone to kind of on the same page, no matter like how you do it, whatever means necessary?
Of course it is. I mean, Mark lives in Portugal, Tony lives in Ireland, Martin lives closest to the studio, but is always there last. And even when I was living in LA,
still.
But I just never expect Martin to be there.
So you just
when he says, I never expect him to be there when he says he's going to be there.
Has he always got an excuse?
No, but he doesn't need one, because he's in the band. He's been there for 35 years. He doesn't need an excuse. We had so much history there with Rockfield. We did between 10th and 11th there. We did Telling Stories. We did the Charlatans. We did, in fact, Telling Stories was the last time that we went there because Rob died in a car crash, and it was a long time. It took a long time to heal for us to sort of like want to go back there again. This
is a sensitive question. Feel free to not want to talk about it, but going back there and going back to a place where your mate died, and having what kind of power did that have? What kind of effect did that have on you?
Well, I think we'd all kind of like gone back there separately for reasons, personal reasons over the past. As many years as it was since we was with Telling Stories, but I went there to do when I wrote Telling Stories. I went to Rockfield just to sort of like just to see if I could recognise the field, you know, that Rob died in, really. It's like, and of course I could. And that sounds like such a strange thing to want to do, but it was like I was writing a book about the band and wanted to understand what had happened, basically.
I think going somewhere physically is so powerful because
you get the feeling kind of overtakes you, doesn't it?
Well, your memory changes as well.
That's
you
true.
remember things differently.
Yeah.
I've done that. Everyone's done that.
Yeah, everyone's done that,
especially for these moments that really affects you.
Yeah.
You know, I think most people have a few moments in their life that was sort of a life-changing moment, and the way that you remember that will shapeshift.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly self-medicated for 10 years after that, so my memory is very, you know, warped.
Yeah.
About it all, and then I did some solo albums there as well. You know, not all of the recordings, but you know, did some of the recordings there. And I invited Mark along and to join in, and from the Charlatans, Mark Collins.
Yeah.
So he kind of got a feel for Rockfield again. And then, you know, Martin was very curious.
Yeah. And so it kind of built up again.
So it kind of built up again, and it just felt that this was the right record to go back to do. It was our first album at Rockfield since Telling Stories.
Have you got any sort of particular moments on the record, whether it's a musical bit or whether it's a lyric, like, oh yeah, that said what I was trying to say?
Wow. We all love. I mean, I think all the songs are great, and you know, I have said that it's, you know, our best record. It feels like it really is. I mean, this has a kind of like, you know, a real lightness to it, a kind of like almost like a sense of relief in a way. And and some great, I'm going to call them dev touches. Classic sort of like help with middle eights and sort of like, you know, and drop, you know, it's sprinkling of magic, you know, and going back to a place that we all knew and but getting out of it something that was like really new and sparkly and fresh. And
I feel like that's, I mean, you tell me, is that the job of you're being in a band? It's like, okay, how do we keep it new?
That was definitely the goal. It was definitely the goal with Modern Nature. With that record, we tried to write an album for 5 years with John, but he was sick, and it was his wish, you know, to be involved in the making of Modern Nature, and he didn't make it, but he was like part of it all. And it's kind of like, and when he died, he kind of like, we all felt that it was helping just from a different dimension.
You've been sober for. And again, another sensitive topic, but you know, if you don't want to talk about that, that's absolutely fine, obviously. But you've been sober for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
Prior to that, and you've written at length about it in your books. And I feel like I kind of live vicariously through you quite a lot.
Great. Yeah.
Do you think that do you think people need drugs to do like good music?
I mean, there was times where I found it like really supportive to be making music on drugs. Yeah. And when I stopped taking drugs, I found writing kind of like it was harder at first, to tap into that thing that gives you the kind of like the, you know, just the, you know, that
the associative,
but then also there was towards the tail end of my relationship with drugs, my output was pretty hit and miss. So I recognised that, and that was part of the reason for wanting to start. My whole thing is that I've always been quite all or nothing, and I'm still working on that. That's my life quest, is to try and find balance. So
when you stopped, it was almost like, because didn't you were going to go on a 12-week detox, and that ended up being years?
It was a 21-day detox that lasted about 5 years.
You did it. You did it good.
I did it good. Yeah. And I did myself proud because, you know, I actually went for some help and then went to detox in a very famous hotel called the K West Hotel. It was kind of like, it had taken over from the Columbia as like being a place where all the people in bands were, and the bar was at the door where you walk in, and
selling beers, alcoholic beers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it wasn't a rehab place or anything like that.
Okay.
It was an actual hotel, and the people that I saw at the bar at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. When I walked through the door with Shaun and Bez, it was sort of like, come on, and I was like, I've just got to go to my room for a minute. So,
that's such an image.
Yeah. I was like, I made this plan to sort of like go to, get some medication to stop me drinking and taking drugs.
And you walk into the hotel
to have a week on my own.
And the first people you see are Shaun and Bez from Happy Mondays.
Yeah, it's classic. They were very thoughtful though, and they were very understanding. I was thinking first time I saw Happy Mondays was in 1987, and it was at a student union bar in London. Yeah,
quality. What do you remember? What's the
just how many of them there was? And I went to see the Pogues the next night, and I was thinking, is this the thing now? I've got to be in a band with like, more than 7 people.
Start a ska band.
Yeah.
Hey, it's great. Lovely to chat. I think that this conversation
could go on forever.
And you can have it 3 times and we'll never say the same thing.
Yeah. It will go on forever though.
That's kind of the brilliant thing about music and stories.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's why I started this show, because I loved reading those long features in magazines that you don't really get anymore.
Well, you come more up on my feed. So
that's good. You're playing shows at the end of this year. Obviously, you're supporting this record.
Yeah.
When you play these gigs now, are there particular moments in the set where you're just kind of elevated and you're just like, this feels like the first time again?
Yeah. Always in One to Another. Often in The Only One I Know. I mean, that's more of a sort of crowd song really than a band song. So they kind of take over, and I don't even know whether we play along half the time. It's just like they sing and sort of
you got muscle memory.
Yeah. It's, but One to Another always lifts off in that middle bit, no matter where we put it in the set, and we sort of like try and trick ourselves, putting it in different spots, and just always does the same thing. Can't get out of bed. Just can't get rid of it. It's I love that. Not that we would want to, but I mean, is it not your favourite? Yeah, no, it is. It's one of the best memories of a song. It was an instrumental for the longest time, and everyone in the band thought that it could be more. And the label was saying you need a single, and it's like, okay. So me and Rob worked on it. Yeah. Well, the rest of the band went home. Rob just looked at some words that I'd written, and he just went in. He had an idea. It was kind of Beatlesy, Dylan-y, and kind of just put it down. And I was like, "Yeah, you are the best singer in the band." and then we just, I think the rest of the band went home, early Friday evening, and we'd done it by the end of Friday, and we just had the rest of the weekend to ourselves messing about. So. Listen back to it. Yeah, just listen back to it for the rest of the weekend. And it was a single. Yeah, great. Yeah, that's so good. Isn't it funny how it is almost like a Beatles thing. It's just like Lennon McCartney just wrote that in a. I mean the Get Back thing. Yeah. That minute. Amazing. I mean that moment that's been clipped up now for TikTok and on YouTube, but that actual 10 minutes where they write Get Back, it's like mad. Goosebumps. Mad. Yeah. And he did it in front of the camera as well, which is like even more kind of like weird, because you're either intimidated or you're acting up. It's kind of like, it's so hard to be just like zen, Yeah. I mean, it's probably hard for you to say, but you've been in front of the cameras for so many years, and it's getting the kind of like the normality, the right way that you're feeling. Yes. Really. I mean, it's good to be amped up, and it's good to sort of like, hide behind shades, but it's good to also get across the raw material and the real message and all that. Big time. Just a couple of questions before we go. New music. I'm putting you on the spot here, so it's always like going into the record shop. I was going to say supermarket, but whenever I go into a record shop, the 3 records I'd had in mind to buy, I just totally forget what they are. I'm sure there's always, there's probably some German word to describe that.
But what are you listening to at the moment? What new stuff?
Well, it's exactly the same as like when you ask a question like, "What new stuff are you listening to?"
Exactly.
It's like, I've been listening to a lot of girls. Been listening this morning to Geneva Jacuzzi, okay. Julia Holter.
Julia Holter's great.
It's not new really, but it's kind of like, you know, but people, not everyone will have heard.
Well, I feel like new at this point, sort of in raps the last 10 years.
Exactly. And you know, I love Wise Blood. You know,
that's good.
So just getting kind of like, just get taken away by the girls, really.
Yeah, for the girls.
For the girls, yeah. There you go. And that's who that song's about. Yeah.
Is it?
It was definitely about a friend of mine with 2 daughters, and but then just, you know, Tony has 4 daughters, Mark has 3 daughters, so kind of like they were like, oh, I'm into this, and it kind of meant something to them, and it just like, and I just kept watching them really.
Listening to,
and
discovering
then,
music.
Fred McPherson, you know, daughters too, and just seemed to sort of like, you know, I was kind of channeling sort of dads.
Yeah, it's a beauty. I mean, I'm not a dad, but I can see how it's a psychedelic thing. Seeing the kids like grow up and getting into the thing that, you know, that changed your life, music, or going to gigs, or communities, friends.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't do. You probably don't want your kid to do what you do.
Well, I've got a son, and of course I don't.
Are they old enough to come to the shows and enjoy themselves?
Yeah. They all come. Yeah, best night out of the year.
Yeah, I can imagine. Looking forward to seeing it. I'm buzzing for it because it's a party, isn't it? That's ultimately like what those live shows are for.
Yeah, and because we've got a new album out, and because we've got so many records out, we're doing longer sets. So we're doing an extra half an hour to make sure we can like put stuff in. And
is that like 2 hours? What's that?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, I really want to play "Get On It," which is kind of a long song, and really want to play "Forever" and "Spross and Green." We always finish with that, so that's 20 minutes.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate seeing you again. Just to end with, you know, you've had like a career that most people would dream of. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Is there a time that you wish you could kind of go back and do again?
I mean, I think there's certain there's one record called Simpatico that I think is a bit slow. And I think we were all just on different drugs, you know. So it's like it was so hard to get the rhythm. So I would probably try and do that one again. Yeah. The whole thing. And the artwork I would make lighter.
Okay.
Yeah. Darker actually in Simpatico. We did Up to Our Hips with different artwork for an anniversary. I imagine it was 30-year anniversary. I think the concept for the album at the time was this sort of like the video for Can't Get Out of Bed, which was like 4 members of a band when there should have been 5, but one of them was in jail. A Makeover, which is like by we were obsessed with this hairdressing photograph by Lewis Morley, and we kind of recreated that with some friends of ours, cutting hair. That became the front cover, and then turning it into the glam version of Jesus Hairdo video with when Rob comes back out of prison. And that was the concept. So I think we managed to get all that in with the deluxe, and with the the anniversary edition, and that just made so much more sense to me rather than just having the makeover bit.
Yeah, is there that sense that now like nothing has to be kind of stuck in the past exactly the way it was? You can always bring things back. Yeah. Always do re-releases.
I think it's like Sonic Youth had a song called Massage the History, wasn't it? And then I think David Lynch's last film, or the last version of Twin Peaks, really messed with the timelines. And I think timelines can be messed with so much now. It doesn't matter.
Cheers for watching. This is 101 Part-Time Jobs. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, and all podcast apps. We've done interviews with Aurora, Kneecap, Idols, Lauren Maybury of Churches, and loads more. So tap into 101 Part-Time Jobs on Spotify, Apple, and all podcast apps. Welcome along to 101 Part-Time Jobs. Every single one of our episodes is available ad-free at our Patreon, patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs. I know that there are all these messages trying to sell you things that you may or may not want. So for £4 a month, that's around $5.50 US, you can get over 450 of our episodes and every single one in the future, featuring all the brilliant guests that we have week in, week out, completely ad-free. You can head to patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs, get all your episodes bother free, and you support us directly. Cheers.